Welcome to the Gibberpish podcast.
Well, we may not be in the same room together, but we're here digitally to talk gibberpish, aren't we, Dom?
Yep, bringing you the remote daily or monthly dose of pish.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we had stuff scheduled, and then we had an unfortunate cancellation, and then the world decided to flip itself upside down. And
Last year we were obsessed with Endgame. Now we are in Endgame.
the Thanos snap is taking a while to roll across the planet, but something's coming, and
It's getting there. It's getting there.
For future historians coming back to listen to old podcast archives for some reason, we're in the end of March, and not the end of days. Kids, calm down. And we are in the middle of the coronavirus lockdown, which has affected just about every country on the planet. I can't think of anyone who isn't doing this right now. There might be some small Pan-Asian area that we can just point to one island. It's like, no, we don't know what's going on. What are you people talking about?
I think there might be a few countries that are not in total lockdown, but most countries are in, at least in Europe anywhere, in total lockdown.
Yeah. I mean, Australia's on total lockdown, and those people just don't give a shit about fire, giant birds, snakes, poisonous spiders. Those people are taking this seriously, so pretty much everyone else is.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're American, or in London, because the tube in London was packed the day the lockdown was announced. People were just still thinking, fuck it, I'm going to work, or fuck it, I'm going out.
Yeah, I'd say right now we're still at the stage where the panic about this coronavirus outbreak is more dangerous than the actual virus itself right now. We're still waiting on the mass amount of stupid to happen, but we're just kind of waiting for it.
I have seen, not a mass amount of stupid, but I've seen 2 isolated cases of stupid. One where an Irish guy goes to the sort of hygiene products in an Asda or a Morrison's or something and just licks every single bottle of hand soap.
Is that the one that was on Philip DeFranco's show?
Yes.
That guy in the thumbnail looked exactly like my brother. I fucking wet myself when I saw that thumbnail.
he got arrested on terror charges.
Yeah, I looked into this for the US as well, and they're doing the same thing because COVID-19, the virus strain itself, technically just passes the limits of what would constitute a biological weapon. I don't know why, I don't know how, but they're marking it as being on the side of a bioweapon, and you are therefore spreading a bioweapon and would be considered an agent of terrorism.
And then there was the woman, the blonde Instagram model who was on an airplane, I think, and did something called the coronavirus challenge, where she licked the toilet seat.
She was the first one to start all that, and I honestly can't think of a worse person on the planet right now. It's interesting times because we're all stuck together, but isolated, because everyone is stuck in their home, but everyone is sharing their thoughts, opinions on social media. I mean, we're doing the same thing with this podcast, so we can't really point too many fingers, but everyone isolated together and separate is a weird thing that's happening and playing its way out on social media.
Yeah, and I think it's not yet reached its fever pitch. I think people are keeping it relatively contained now, but I think a couple of weeks' time people are just going to get cabin fever, and then that box is going to crack open.
Yeah, we are on... The UK is technically just finished week 1 of isolation, and I would expect this to... I mean, we're going for 3 weeks. I think it was Boris Johnson's statement to say we're going to review in 3 weeks and find out how we're doing, and the UK government's approach is to flatten the curve so that we can basically just expect this virus to go through 90% of the population. But if we can slow the rate at which it goes through the population, the NHS can handle it. And everyone with a cough is immediately under suspicion. So, Dom, right now, we're going to end this call just in case it comes through the microphone. Is that not you?
That's not me. I'm one of the many advantages of podcasting from home. I'm in a comfy chair. I've got my PC all set up. I've got everything fine. I've got a tin of Dr. Pepper, glass of water. But my brother, who has not got C virus at all, has got a cough. So you will hear a bit of that. And I'm using the old microphone that we used to use for podcasting way back in the day when we first started. The old Boom Blue Yeti microphone. I'm using that. And that picks up all ambient sounds. So if my dog farts, you'll hear that. If my brother coughs, you'll hear that. If there's another murder of crows outside my window like there was last night in some kind of weird biblical plague type thing, you'll hear that.
Yeah, and expect some weird audio. I just heard a little weird kind of like electronic wobble in the noise there, so expect that. We are running this through a Discord call, and I'm recording both sides in the hope that what comes out of this is actually a reasonable podcast. So hopefully
like I
you
said, we're working it out. Working it out.
and we won't get any better. We promise you that. We make the
No.
solemn promise to absolutely keep fucking this up until the day we die. So I have a few notes and stuff to talk about. Dom was saying he doesn't have that much because right now, you were in study mode, weren't you? Just
before lockdown happened, before we were all advised to self-isolate, I was finishing off my coursework for uni, submitting my last piece of coursework just as they told us, stay the fuck home, don't come into uni. Then after that, I was in full-blown study mode. I was getting ready to do long-term studying for my exams, but then I've been told that exams will happen, but we don't know when yet. So I'm in this kind of weird limbo of, do I get stuck into some more long-form video games? Because I got Shadow of the Colossus, I got God of War. Recently, brother bought Doom Eternal and just finished that, so I want to get stuck into that. So there's a lot of games that I could be playing, but at the same time, I don't know when my exam timetable is going to drop, so I'm just hovering in this weird limbo fugue state.
Yeah, and you actually posted your fat stack of games ready to go on Twitter at Gibberpish. I was very impressed to see some of the games there. There was obviously the God of War stuff. That's the new one, right? The God of War, Dad of War.
That's it. Yeah, Dad of Boy.
Dad of Boy. Yeah, boy. You also had in there. You had Shenmue. Care to share some thoughts?
The movement and the combat of that game physically hurt me. It felt painful. My hands hurt. My head hurt. I felt like I felt depressed. It's not a well-playing game. That game almost bankrupt Sega back in the day. That's why when it came to Shenmue 3, they just said, if you want to do another Shenmue game, you're doing
cash on the table now, kids. Like,
yeah, cash on the table, crowdfund it. Sega will not put forward penny one if you want to do this by yourself.
Yeah, I
so
saw
Shenmue got dropped off the list.
Yeah, I've seen some playthroughs of Shenmue, like as much as I can handle, and I'm right in saying it's tank controls for your character.
Kind of. It tries to be more fluid, but ends up being more stiff than Resident Evil tank controls. Because I've played with Resident Evil tank controls since I was about 5. I know those controls. Shenmue is just something totally different. It's his own beast.
I described that to him. I said I told a friend that you were playing this game, and I said, yeah, my buddy's playing Shenmue, and he is a hardcore Resident Evil fan. So when he complains about the controls, that means something. Like he really he knows his shit. He can control a person with tank controls in second person perspective, I guess.
Yeah, I can complete Resident Evil 2 1996. Not the remake, the original PlayStation 1 GameCube era Resident Evil 2. I can complete that game in about 4 or 5 hours, depending on how slow I want to take the game, and that game is old school ass tank controls. But Shenmue broke me. I couldn't do it. Put it back. Ended up playing Samurai Showdown for the rest of the night, which is a ridiculously fun fighting game.
Yeah, Shenmue broke Sega as well. So, I mean, you're not the first to crumble before the might of a weirdly ambitious game. Every time I hear people talk about it, the director was like, I'm going to recreate all of life in a video game cartridge in 1996. And nobody said to that guy, you just need to make a decent game. Well, you can't.
I mean, fair play to the guys that made Shenmue. It is a good game. It is a good looking game. And especially considering it was made on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Early Dreamcast.
It was one of the last things to come out for the Dreamcast.
Incidentally, Gordon will be functioning as my my wiki and fact check. Yeah. If I have to repeat anything, Gordon will be saying, you didn't get that right, or you fucked that one up, or whatever. Special guest, Brother Gordon.
Just in the background, you say, wrong.
That might happen, yeah. If you hear wrong, or shut up, or you suck, it's Brother Gordon. You're going in the thumbnail now, dog. You're in the... you want the... Take that, fuck off.
So yeah, Shenmue broke you. Other games
Shenmue broke me, but Samurai Showdown lifted my spirits up again. That game's fun as hell. It's a slow fighting game, which I love, and you can win entire matches with 2 moves. It's fucking great.
That does sound kind of fun, but at the same time, like I wouldn't like I wouldn't know how to begin to get into that game as someone who's not into fighting games. So like, is there?
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those games that you would need to be a fan of fighting games to get into, because otherwise it's just this slow, clunky mess of a game.
Just the idea that you could win at a fight with two hits or two moves, and then that's how you would win. Like, I would just ruin the game for me. I would just use those two moves again and again and again.
Well, it's not two specific moves. The whole point of the game is, obviously the name is Samurai Showdown, so it's all about quick, or like beefy, definite strikes. So you get one sort of desperation move, and if you use that at any point, that's like instant 50% health bar. And you get another move where you can sort of block, but at the same time you deflect their weapon. So they drop their weapon, then your character can just run in, do some cool shit, do a final move, then bam, you've won the match.
I immediately, just because you say Samurai Showdown and winning in like a small number of moves, my assumption is the like stereotypical anime style showdown of two samurai on the other side of the screens. They kind of both draw swords at the same time, but they both put the swords back in the sheath, and all of a sudden, like one guy just explodes into gore. That is immediately.
That's pretty much exactly what it is. That's like to a T. That's exactly what it is. There's a character called a Yukio who has tuberculosis, so he randomly keeps coughing throughout the whole thing, and most of his moves are just show the tiniest bit of the blade, sheath it, then all of a sudden the enemy across from him gets cut to ribbons.
There are some great vines of it's like swordsman and anime be like, and you just see these guys set up this elaborate shot, and then you just take a katana, just pop it out the sheath, put it back in the sheath in like a half a frame, and all of a sudden like the entire room just drops, it explodes, like guys drop out the ceiling, they didn't even know where they're. You're like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how this shit works.
My favourite one was the guy chopping potatoes with the tiny knife. He just like opens the knife blade, takes the knife at the sheath slightly, then all the potatoes just slide to the left.
they're really creative. Like when you tell people you have to make the best thing you can in 6 seconds, and you can use like 3 seconds for setup, 1 second for thing, 2 seconds for showing the effect. People get stupidly creative with that.
Yeah, that's why I never liked Vine, but I always had a respect for Viners, because like you're doing 7-second clips, I think it was on Vine, and you're still making something fairly funny with good production value. So you had my respect, but you never had my admiration.
I will say that if you ever get to that point in the night where you're just bored, a like 20-minute Vine compilation of like just the weirdest shit you can find never goes wrong, because it's only 6 seconds. You're not investing like an entire like 20-minute monologue into a joke. The thing happens, it's over, you laugh at it, and you're on to the next one. Yeah, and it just fires through.
I think because I spent a lot of time on YouTube trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with my dog. I got a lot of animal-based Vines, and I am okay with that stuff.
Yeah,
like dogs beating their faces into mirrors and shit like that. I'm okay with that.
I just like that you were looking for what was wrong with the dog. YouTube's like, it probably just runs into Windows. I'll send him those videos again and again.
Because at one point it was like, my dog hasn't drank water in about 3 days. How do I make him drink water? And it was like, ice cubes, actual genuine. It's like, make him eat ice cubes. Shit that was genuinely helping me. Then it got to 20-minute Vine compilation of funny dogs. I'm like, yeah, this is clearly the chicken soup that I needed to help my problem.
Chicken soup for the soul.
Chicken soup for the moron dog.
Yeah. Yeah, I unfortunately right now with coronavirus I am still working, so I would love to be hanging out and doing stuff and making more podcasts and live streams on it, but we're apparently counted as essential workers, so it's been interesting to walk through the streets every day, and it's so empty.
Yeah, even just taking the dog for a walk. Shit, I need to be careful when I say the W word, because the dog is in the room with me. So if I say the W word, I may have to go off mic for about 45 minutes and deal with that.
We may have to actually commit to walkies. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I would actually have to commit to
W words.
Yeah, the W word.
And I wonder how like pet owners are dealing with this, because I know my brother is off. They're non-essential, and so is his fiance. So they've been off for like a week and a half now. They were just told shut the work down. But now like they have a dog. They have an inexhaustible. They have a border collie. Those things do not stop. Yeah,
that's just a ball of energy.
You can take them for like 10-mile runs, and then sit them home, give them their dinner or their lunch, whatever, and immediately like, we're going for walkies. You just went for like 5 hours. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I need to take my dog out on cycle because he's got a sore stomach, because he's got a sensitive stomach. I just like every 4 hours I need to take him out.
Jeez. Don't tell the police that.
And I get the sense, because I know there's like the police occasionally drive past because they need to check up on things. I'm pretty sure there's one police officer that's just walking by going, "How many times do you need to walk the dog? Like, come on, the dog will be fine. Leave him in the house."
You should say, "Officer, he has irritable bowel syndrome, and no, he will not be fine. You come clean that up if you think he'll be fine.
I will send you the bed. I will send you the sheets that he soils.
You can wash them for me. I'm not dealing with this shit."
It's caring the community if you think about it.
Yeah, I just noticed there's obviously the occasional dog walkers and stuff, but it's the kids. They're gone. They're just not in the streets anymore. Because I think there was a couple of days where people had this strange reaction of, "Are you telling me that all the kids got off school, had great weather after 3 months of just absolute fucking dreadful, like, we had 4 storms in a row every weekend, we had storms, and then the weather gets good, schools are legally told to close, and then all of a sudden it's like, I can't believe all the kids are running and playing in the streets." This is exactly what we want. We want kids to be out there playing. It's just bad timing because there's a air-based virus hanging out.
Yeah, I think it hasn't stopped many kids where I live, because there's still like roving bike gangs of children out in the woods where I live. And if I've had to go near the shop to get anything for the house, there's always just a group of kids, like 6 or 7 of them, just hanging about, waiting for shit to happen, like some kind of weird Lord of the Fly type groups.
See, my the local Sainsbury's has instituted all the 2 meter spacing stuff. So I was asked by a very indignant woman at the tills to please step back, and I told that I did not appreciate, and I just found it really funny. But then I remember I'm coming in early in the morning. I am the 40th person this woman has seen already today, and she's expecting to see 1,000 more. Each one of them could infect her. If she's telling me to stand back, I'm actually okay with it. So I had a wee mini kind of fuck you indignant moment. But then no, I realised that I everyone she sees today is a risk, and she probably doesn't need to be off sick for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think everyone's having that moment where people are realising they want to just say, "Hey, fuck you, I'll do what I want," but then they realise I could help spread a pandemic, so I'll slow my roll. I'll reel it back a bit.
Actually, we'll talk about that because I'm a big fan of Nick Rekieta. He is a lawyer out in Minnesota, and he has been part of discussions in the anime community because of his involvement with Vic Mignogna, the case we've been talking about back and forth in this podcast a couple of times. But he is wanting to have a conversation around the limit of government power on this, because what we're seeing is the state, regardless of where you are, the state is enforcing control on where people gather and how people talk and what people do in public in a weird way that is, if you just write it down on paper, pretty totalitarian. But because we have a good reason for doing it, such as you say, the spread of a global pandemic that has a 3% mortality rate, people seem to be accepting of it. And he wants to have conversations right now about how to limit government control and how people should be allowed to be free and do what they want. And I just can't help. Every time I listen to his arguments, and he has some fairly good arguments about the fact that we shouldn't just allow government to run our lives in such a strict manner. But then I remember there's a fucking global pandemic, and it always comes back to, you could kill your grandma, or you could kill someone else's grandmother, and we would never want that. So why?
I think in opposition to that, the whole freedom thing, I think we had our chance. We had a chance to stay indoors and isolate and be respectful and not try and transmit this virus. But then morons started to stay out. Fuck C virus, fuck coronavirus, to the point where the government just said, "Fuck it, y'all can't be trusted. These are all getting locked indoors. We're going to enforce it. We're going to enforce a lockdown."
Yeah, the initial tone of Boris Johnson's announcement of the lockdown was hilarious, because it literally sounds like a pissed off parent. You fuckers had your chance. All you had to do was sit down, not cough on each other, and I would have been fine with it. But you can't be trusted, so I am going to basically put you on timeout. You're all grounded. I was.
And in the ultimate just switcheroo, he ended up showing symptoms.
See, that one, it is kind of funny because he's the one. His initial statements were, "I guess we're just gonna have to take it on the chin," and you're like, "Dude, there's a mortality rate with this thing. This isn't just some weird flu, or it's not. It's very easy to spread. There's a pretty high mortality rate. You can't just say take that on the chin, because when people take that on the chin, they drop dead. There's just you just can't say that to the public. I mean, you can say it behind closed doors, and I'm sure that it has been discussed in that manner in private. But you can't turn around to the public and say, "Nah, just take it on the chin. You'll be fine, champ." Walk it off.
Yeah, just we can sacrifice a whole legion of grandmothers and grandfathers. We'll get through this. We'll take it on the chin.
Yeah, and I'll put my hands up and say that I'm in the same boat of I agree with them. I like we're just gonna have to take this one, run it through the population, and if we can do it right, we can have the NHS recover more people than would if we just had it run rampant through society. Like if this happened 200 years ago, I looked at the total UK population, 70 million. 3% mortality rate roughly should be a couple million dead bodies, and that would have happened a couple hundred years ago. This would have been another plague. We would be, if we survived it, we'd be talking about it like it was a plague. But then I put that into a group chat with my brothers, and my brother's like, "You just can't say that the projected stat of 250,000 is an acceptable figure." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do sound like a real fucking dick when I say it."
It is something that I think that is the right way to say it, that we are just going to have to ride this out. But saying that we just need to take it on the chin to a group of very, very on edge and panicky people was probably the wrong way to do it, and especially Boris Johnson saying it, considering the fact that he's not very well liked at the best of times.
Yeah.
It's not exactly going to help him.
I can't think of, if you described it, we joked about this years ago, back in 2014, was we'd get Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, Donald Trump as President, and we'd have a fucking 4 year just joke fest, and that did not happen. We got halfway there and just forgot shit could be funny, because they're two idiots dealing with probably one of the biggest, most serious, complicated medical international issues of the last 50 years.
Yeah, at least Boris Johnson is you can. I can't believe I'm going to give credit to Boris Johnson here, but he's trying his best to keep up with this. Donald Trump is just going, "It will not be a pandemic. I said it would be a pandemic, and you are misquoting me. Fake news."
Yeah, I wonder. Have you heard the theory that Boris Johnson is wickedly intelligent, and he puts on looking like a scrubby idiot as a mask?
I have heard rumblings of this theory that he is, his wit and intelligence is like a rapier. Is insanely intelligent, but he just acts like a bumbling idiot to disarm people. Then he kind of swoops in with this preternatural intelligence.
Yeah, and I think the idea that he's using that to get people to underestimate him so that then he can come out on top, that's great, but it isn't working very well in this situation. And I'd love to see him just drop it and be like, "Guys, right, let's take it seriously. Everybody's a grown up. This is what we're gonna do," and just have a plan. But there's no real plan for this in a way. If you wanted to have an effective plan, you should have started using it 3 to 6 months ago.
Yeah,
it's the lack of preparedness that made it funny.
Yeah, the lack of preparation across the board was just pretty horrendous.
We're gonna see this. I think we'll see a change in how things happen because, what I saw clips of. It was some deep South American guy who was freaked out by the fact that there's a decontamination thing called, I think it's Lysol or Clorox or something like that. It's like bleach or it's like hand sanitizer. It's like a range of products, and they were quoted as being effective against coronavirus. And he went, "Wait a minute, how is this product's been on my shelf for a year? How did they know this was coming? This is all part of a government conspiracy." I'm like, "No, bro, coronavirus is it's a type of virus. COVID-19 new strain is what's fucking everyone up."
Yeah.
So I
love the people that are taking to Facebook and Twitter and saying coronavirus isn't real, man. It's just the government trying to control us. I'm like, tell that to the hundreds of thousands of people that are dead.
Yeah,
it's just the government trying to control them.
I can't remember I looked at the stats for the UK. I think we were already up a couple hundred.
I think we were dead in the UK. I think is just breaching 1,000, maybe less.
We're not far off. But yeah, I
know in Scotland it's something like 47.
Yeah, they did say that Scotland's actually as an area just doing rather well. Obviously, it could change it any day, but I think we're doing okay right now.
Yeah, I think Scotland's doing okay, and there's a Scottish university that is leading the front in the vaccine. So
yeah,
good feather in the cap there.
Yeah, there's a number of places that are just going all out and getting a vaccine, and people are saying, "Oh, we need it now." I'm like, "Well, you're not getting it now. We have to run trials, and those trials have to last months." Like, we can't just inject someone and be like, well, he didn't die within the first 5 minutes, roll him out, you know?
I mean, if it gives me cool Dragon Ball Z or Spider-Man, Marvel Comics type powers, I'm willing to take that chance. But on the off chance that it doesn't, which is a very high off chance,
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for them to test it a bit more.
There's a good chance that if you do get superhero powers, you'll be one of the superheroes in a wheelchair, so I wouldn't really run those risks.
Yeah. Then again, Professor X from X-Men's one of the strongest mutants alive, so
pretty fucking
I'll take that chance.
He can move his own wheelchair.
Yeah.
Is
But
that...
you can also make that wheelchair float stuff.
Yeah, why did he not just do that all the time? Like, you see
I
him
don't
in the
know.
movies just wheeling himself about. I'm like, I just get on like a good chair and then just use that as your wheelchair. Why does he never do that? Oh my! I've just fucked myself.
You're annoyed now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be every time I watch an X-Men film, I go bullshit. There's a lazy boy right there.
Just get comfy and float about nothing.
I had one other thing. Yeah, it was the. Did you hear about the people who poisoned themselves? It was a married
Poison
couple.
themselves, no.
Trump has been talking about a combination of a malarial disease, or a malarial medicine, and one other type of medicine taken in combination. He thinks has been shown to affect the virus. There's not enough data to say that as a fact statement. So I'm not saying that as a fact statement, for the record, Your Honor. And we have, like, he goes on and says this, immediately followed by a doctor, I think it's the head of his, like, task force that's handling this, who walked up immediately after him and said, we did not just endorse that chemical combination. Please don't do that. We don't have enough data. Please fucking stop.
Oh shit, why are they drinking ammonia? That shit strips steel beams. Don't drink it.
He did that in front of the president, which I will say, the fucking balls on that guy. I would not be...
Yeah, that guy's fired. That guy now works in a McDonald's in buttfuck nowhere.
That's the guy who was on Philip DeFranco on Friday. He's
Oh yeah.
he's the guy. He's literally just the head of the task force who answers to the president on this, and he's just going to everywhere he can. He's appeared on like 5 podcasts this weekend just to speak to people, to get the word out to as many people as possible. The guy is an absolute fucking trooper, but he's awake. He's like, I'm sleeping like 4 hours a night. I'm like, can you sleep a little more? Like, Trump can wait 20 minutes while you take a nap. That's fine.
Yeah, you get more than 4 hours. Lay off the caffeine for a little bit. We need you on your top game, dog.
Yeah, I want you actually good, not just feeling fine. I kind of want you in your like ace game today. But some people saw the announcement of the 2 chemicals involved, and someone said, "We have that in the kitchen. Or we have that in the toilet." I go, what? The last we went through took out a very, very similar chemical to one of the ones that was mentioned, and they gave it a go because they were scared. Turns out what they used was stuff used to scrub at fish tanks. And the guy died. The woman is in hospital in like the serious like ICU, on a respirator, on like getting oxygen pumped into her lungs, because she drank what is used to clean up a fucking fish tank, thinking it would help with coronavirus.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most important things to remember about this is don't take shit that will liquefy your insides to cure it, because it'll cure it, but fatally.
Yeah, I just amazed that she thought she had that in her house. Like, the thing is, it's described as an anti-malarial medication. Have you been treated for malaria recently? No, then you probably don't have anti-malarial medication hanging around your fucking house, lady.
Yeah.
Fucking batshit insane. It's doing weird stuff to a lot of people. So wherever you are, we hope you're doing well. I've had contact with a couple of people in the community. I know that Lance, our good buddy from Canada, went in for the test because he's of a certain age. He went in and got himself checked out and is self-isolating with the family and stuff. So we wish you well, Lance. Hope you're doing fine.
Yeah, I hope you're doing good, man. We've seen that you were in hospital, and or obviously making sure everything's alright. So hope you're back home nice and safe.
Yeah. From what I've heard, they're playing it safe, which is the right way to do things. And we had I was talking to someone else in the community that I actually work with, and her husband's hernia operation was cancelled. So that's fucking shitty. That, like, it's necessary, but with a hernia, like, it's an easy surgery, but afterwards you have to be so fucking careful to avoid further complications. Like, I heard from somebody else who used to work with that had a hernia, I'm just not going to do anything for 6 months. I'm like, what? So that was the doctor's orders, was not to do any lifting, any movement that was too sudden for 6 months while the muscles in your stomach knit themselves together again. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, fuck that stuff.
As a young guy, like my job is to do things and lift things. Like I just have to get shit done. And if you told me I wouldn't be able to do that for 6 months, I'd probably lose my mind. And doing it in the middle of a coronavirus lockdown, probably not the happiest that guy would have ever been. But yeah. We're all playing it safe. I hope you're playing it safe at home. And let's jump into like our normally scheduled show, I guess.
Yeah. The last thing I'd like to say about this is it's morbid and kind of weird to say that there's an upside to all this shit. But the upside to it is I've actually seen people engage more with the more positive side of this thing, where people are, jumping on things like Discord, jumping on things like Zoom and House Party and all these kind of online servers, and actually just keeping the chat going, keeping things going, because they realise that self-isolation doesn't have to be it doesn't really have to be completely isolated. You can still talk to people. So
yeah, if we're all self-isolating together, you can self-isolate together. Like you can communicate and talk to people. And I know
I've racked up about 80 odd hours on Left 4 Dead 2 over the past couple of weeks because I've had fuck all else to do.
And just jump on. You've all got headsets with your mates. You just fuck around. It's a lot more fun to actually play games with people.
Yeah.
I'm streaming a lot more of our 7 Days to Die game with Badger and pals, and just to have us all on mics just shooting the shit as we shoot zombies is a lot of fun. There's something very cathartic about just the hangout feel of stuff, so it's bringing that back in a big way. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. And as Troy Baker says quite rightly in the Retro Replay show, which I'm a huge fan of, nowadays it is all about the hang. It's all about, getting together, doing the right shit. And I think if we can keep that going throughout isolation, make it all about the hang, like online, the remote hang.
Yeah.
It's going to make it a lot easier for other people.
Yeah, and it's certainly not about singing Imagine in your fucking McMansion with a bunch of your celebrity friends. Fucking idiots.
Yeah. The one that I seen was some Kardashian fucking half Barbie doll, half human bitch saying, "Oh my god, I'm so bored." And she's sitting there in an $11 million motherfucker. I am here in a fairly cramped bedroom in Scotland, and I probably still have less shit to do than you.
Yeah. I really despise that idea of, oh my god, guys, we're all in this together. We're all just stuck in our homes. Let's all be nice to each other. I'm like, bitch, my house does not have a pool. Fuck off.
Yeah. Although, did you see Jeff Bezos' response to C-Virus?
No.
He gave something like $2 million. The guy's worth something like 80 billion.
I don't know how I feel about those, because they're not giving 110% their financial impact, but the guy's still throwing a fat stack of cash at a problem, and I really don't know how I feel about it, because on the one hand, yeah, it's great that they're doing that, and a lot of these guys are turning their companies towards dealing with these problems. Like, I know Elon Musk is helping develop respirators and ventilators and stuff like that for the medical services, and I know that Jeff Bezos has put out the call to say, like, if you lost your job due to coronavirus, Amazon is hiring right now. We need a lot more people to deal with all the online orders and stuff. We're working with these people. So it's not, like, for me, it's not just about the cash impact, even though a guy like Bezos can throw probably enough money at the thing to insulate everyone by, like, 6 feet of just solid cash. Like, if he turned his entire money into $1 bills, he could probably just insulate everyone with, like, the 2 meter roll.
Cash hazmat suit for everybody.
Yeah, I just, for me, it's it does kind of suck that he isn't throwing, say, $1 billion at it. But
Yeah, but the good thing about Amazon is he is using his distribution network to provide more for the NHS and health services. So there's the upside to that.
Yeah, and he did crack down on a certain fuckface in Tennessee that went to every store in Tennessee and several other states nearby and bought them.
And he bought like $75,000 worth of goods or something.
He bought 17,000 hand sanitizer bottles and stored them in his garage, and then was like, I'm going to flip these on eBay and Amazon. And eBay and Amazon said, no, you're fucking not. So if they crack down on that guy,
the dick of the week.
Oh, that guy's the dick of the year. I think he really might be up there for genuine, like, the worst person you know in 2020. I hope.
We've just started the decade, but he's dick of the decade.
I don't know. I think we have to leave it open for a little bit and see who comes
He's
up.
taking number one just now, though.
Yeah,
He's
right
taking
now,
number one.
I'd put good odds on him making it all the way through. I'd love to hear that. I mean, one thing I normally enjoy at the end of years is the kind of year wrap up stuff, like Yellow White from Charlie Brooker. It doesn't happen anymore, but like all
YouTube Rewind.
Nobody looks forward to YouTube Rewind. Other than people who are just looking for memes. What was the one that I always watch? Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Oh yeah, fucking love that.
I cannot wait for them to bring up that guy in 9 months' time. That guy is going to get it fucking so harsh once we're all done with this thing, because it will roll its way through. We'll be done with this. I don't really know when, but I'd say like if we're still dealing with this in 3 months, something went really, really wrong. But I'd say by that time...
There is talk about the isolation or the lockdown to be extending to June just as a precaution, but they say they're aiming for it to be end of May before we can leave the house again.
And means I could have a
And
party
believe
for
me,
my birthday.
My brother's 30th is in the end of May, so if that happens, coincides, we'll probably be joining in one of the biggest parties in existence.
I could see this being, there's like the Queen's coronation's the famous one where like all of London just turned into a party. I could genuinely see it turning into like St. Patrick's Day in Boston or Chicago, when that quarantine gets lifted. I wouldn't be surprised if international travel stays shut down for a bit longer.
To contain it.
Yeah, just to stop any, like, because the Chinese are already complaining about reseeding, so the virus came from China, went to other places because people were traveling in and out, and now people are coming back from other places to China, like they're flying into China and giving it back to them. Fuck's sake. I'd be so angry.
Dude, we just got rid of this. Just a boomerang we don't want back.
Chinese health minister like, motherfuckers, you bastards, we discovered this thing.
Hey, we found this, we gave it to you, don't bring it back to us. It's like the cat that brings in the mouse.
We called hot potato and threw it away. Don't fucking send it back, We
gave you this lit turd to hold. You can take care of that.
Yeah. Shall we go on with normal stuff?
Yeah, we have, because I just realised that we haven't recorded in quite a while, and I think most of that is on me due to buses, and because where I live, the back road behind me is being dug up and all the gas pipelines are being replaced. So we've not been able to make it to our usual recording studio, I guess.
AKA my couch.
Yeah, AKA your flat. And since then, I just realised I've watched quite a bit. I finally got around to watching Joker.
Good, interesting, right. Let's have it about that one, because I want to talk about Knives Out as well.
I'm watching Knives Out, yeah. I really do want to watch Knives Out, but I haven't got around to that yet.
I wrote it with the intention of knowing you probably wouldn't have seen it yet, but it's something I really want to, I want to try and sell you on it. So, yeah.
I do want to see it, though. I fucking do want to see it, because I'd like to see Ryan Johnson fuck up a movie.
I think his name's supposed to be Rian.
Like he did Last Jedi.
Yeah. My thing is...
it Rian?
I think so. I think he's Irish and it might be Rian.
That makes sense. I always thought he was Welsh.
My opening line of Knives Out is gorgeous movie directed by Rian Johnson of Star Wars: The Last Jedi fame, and it's that's all he's going to be known for now. It's just The Last Jedi. If he keeps making Knives Out movies, he might get past it if he tries. If he really wants to push it. So yeah, what did you think of Joker? So we're big fans of the biggish fans of DC Universe, and Joker was the first big departure.
It's no secret that I'm a huge Batman fan, and in that Batman fandom comes packaged in Joker. And it may surprise people that I think Joker is the second best Batman villain. And then we'll get into who my favourite Batman villain is in a minute. But the movie Joker
is Bane, right?
It's Bane. It's absolutely Bane.
It is Tom Hardy's Bane.
It's any version of Bane except the crappy one from Batman and Robin where he's like, humanity. Seriously, he shoots humanity at one point because he's getting all his venom drained from his head.
I was joking about Bane because the Tom Hardy performance is good, but it's so fucking memed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, even in the comic books, Bane was introduced as this character who was just this ultimate foil to Batman. He could match him physically, and he could match him mentally.
Yeah,
he could match him in terms of intelligence. But right, Joker. Before I get sidetracked, brilliantly shot film. Like some of the shots that they set up in this movie are absolutely gorgeous. Like the stairs leading into Joker's apartment always look like they've been shot in such a way where they're looking down. Like it had this weird kind of perspective that I really dug. Like Joker was going, Arthur Fleck was going down deeper into madness until at one point where it was shot when it looked like he was going up the stairs.
Are we talking about the staircase from Joker?
The staircase, yeah.
Yes. A place that apparently right now is mobbed with fucking movie tourists. Like people, that is a real life location, and people are just going there every day.
But yeah, it was always shot in this really cool way where it looked like even when Arthur was going up the stairs, it looked like he was going down. Kind of in this weird symbolism thing where he's going deeper and deeper into his madness, or he's still trying to retreat into himself to find himself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the movie itself is a spectacularly shot, superb look into the wrong way to treat mental health. And that's ultimately what Joker's all about. It's just this version of the Joker, instead of throwing him into acid and seeing what happens, we throw him to society and see what happens. And that was always the Instagram thing, like 2008 Joker, acid, 2020 Joker, society, deep.
Yeah, I do find it very interesting that it is for a lot of the movie he is not Joker, he is Arthur Fleck. He's just a guy.
And that's one of the things I liked about it quite a lot. The Joker doesn't show up until the very end of the movie. And the very end of the movie is probably the tensest 20 minutes of a movie you'll ever watch.
Yeah.
It is amazing to watch.
As soon as he steps on that stage to talk to the late night show host, that was... As soon as
Murray Franklin.
Yeah, Murray Franklin. As soon as he's on Murray's stage, you're like, this doesn't feel right. Nothing this feels. I'd say it's actually before that. I'd say it's when he's in the dressing room putting on the paint for his appearance. He's like, I'm getting myself ready. Hey, can you introduce me as Joker? That line. As soon as that happens, and everyone's like, okay, you fucking weirdo, whatever. As soon as that happens, you're like, oh, we're gonna see some shit.
Yeah, and even from before that, when you see him, because you notice a sort of slow change through Arthur. He starts off as you see him with. He's got all these layers on. He's hiding himself. Then he starts taking more and more layers off. And he starts moving more and wearing the suits. And you see him at one point, he's got his white paint on, which he's almost there. Then he dyes his hair. Then he's kind of almost breaking out into his Joker form, if you like. Then by the end of it, he's just got the full blown thing. He's got the bright suit on. He's shifted away from the drab colours that he had before, and he's now got this fully, very primary coloured costume on.
I never thought about it until just now, but the main two parts I think of are obviously towards the end. There's the whole thing of him being on the stage, and he is doing his best to own that stage. He is someone imitating an alpha's behavior, and then when you go back to the start of the movie, the scene where he's bent over trying to pull open his shoe with that fucking weird scoliosis back, where everything's all
his shoulder, man,
over.
It freaked me out.
Oh, it's so fucking disgusting.
Phoenix's body in this thing creeped me out more than anything because he starved himself so much, and there was one point where he was dancing and you could see his ribs.
Yes.
And I thought, shit, this is unnerving. And then at one point where he's dancing with his mother, I was like, dude, I want to fast forward. I'm like, this is creepy.
This is his entire performance is great because it's, as you say, it's so uncomfortable. But I never thought about him shedding, him growing into the Joker as much with the physical part. It just happens in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of took it as a slow, not descent into madness, but more of a kind of slow door open to what he actually was. And I think the part that kind of solidified that for me is the part when he's running away after killing those 3 Wall Street dudes on the train.
Yes.
Because at that point, that's where the transformation kind of starts. He starts off as he's the victim on the floor getting the shit kicked out of him. Then he stands up. He's the hunter. He shoots one guy. Then immediately he becomes the predator because he's chasing down the other guy.
Yeah, the fact that he chases the last guy through the streets.
Yeah.
And through the station.
He becomes 3 different versions of Arthur in the space of a 20-second scene.
Yeah.
Then at the end of it, he goes into the bathroom and
he does that weird Tai Chi dance.
Yeah. And that's him just kind of calming himself, realizing this is me. That's when he kind of realizes that, okay, Arthur Fleck was a mask. Kind of how most people say that Batman is a mask for Bruce Wayne. That's what Joker was kind of going through. Arthur Fleck was the skin that he put on, the face that he put on, but underneath it was Joker, and it was all about him breaking through this normalcy that he thought this is what I need, but the laugh, the clown is what he actually was.
Yeah. And did you see what I mean about the dancing? That he for so much of the film,
creepy.
He doesn't have an identity. He doesn't have anything he's good at. But then you see him dancing. Although he's creepy, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. The way he kind of moves is very fluid. It's like it's not really something that he's had to train. It's just something that he's good at, and it lends to this whole unnerving thing, like the whole unnerving persona of Joker in this movie.
And I think it's the good part for me is when he's dancing alone at home with a gun, and you know that gun is going off. Like, this is inevitable. And I think that was a great part of the whole thing of, like, he is always tense. Like, there's always going to be a point where the gun in his hand goes off because he can't help himself. He just loses himself in the movement, in the moment with the dance, and all of a sudden he loses. He grips too hard or loses control of his trigger discipline, and then he blows a fucking hole in the wall. And that's a great metaphor for most of the movie itself. Is you're just waiting. You're watching Arthur move through life, move through a dance in his living room, and then you know something is going to kick off.
Yeah, you're just kind of waiting for that the wick to burn out, or the detonation wire to burn out on the dynamite and just cause this big explosion.
It's quite funny. Yeah, on you go.
But do you have any more points on it? Because I kind of want to talk about the ending. The ending is where part of my gripes with this movie come about. I did have a couple.
I just want to talk about the fact that it's funny you talk about the mask slipping to reveal that, you know, Arthur Fleck was the mask and Joker was the real person. I'm currently finishing the anime Code Geass. I'm finishing season 2. I've just spent the entire day watching most of season 2, and there's entire monologues about which is the real person. Is it Lelouch? Is it Lelouch as Lelouch Viva Britannia, or is his alter ego the kid at school, or is Zero his actual persona? Is he more like Zero, or is he more like Lelouch Viva Britannia, or whatever his other fucking name is? But he's been playing Zero so long, this mastermind terrorist figure, that when it comes to being him, he doesn't know what to do anymore. Like, he just doesn't want to be himself anymore, because him as a school student can't do anything. But as Zero, he is a mastermind, like, world-class terrorist. He can effect change. He can maybe save Japan in a way like he could never do as just a school student. Like, he would just be another kid. And then he adopts the mask, he adopts the persona, and there's a lot of, like, very similar points of the Joker is a symbol of people rising up against the corruption in Gotham at the time.
Yeah.
What did you think of the finale? Which part of it bugs you the most?
The part of it that bugs me is at the start of the movie and kind of peppered throughout, you see that Arthur Fleck is in Arkham Asylum. He's being treated, and you see when he's first talking to his psychiatrist, he mentions that he wants to go back to Arkham because that's where he was safe. They took care of him there. Then at the end of the movie, he's back in Arkham Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, "What's the joke?" And he just says, "You wouldn't get it." And you notice that after he gets taken out of the police car and he's standing on top of it and he does the weird dance and he draws the Joker smile on his face with blood.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a record stop, like a dream fade, then he's back in Arkham Asylum. So that kind of made me think, I mean, it's an okay ending, I can deal with it, but I would have preferred to have something a bit more definite and a bit less open to interpretation. Because it could be, did it really happen, or was this all just in Arthur's mind?
I think that's that's like our problem with this film, is that we want it to be this should be its own thing, its own standalone thing.
Yeah.
Unless the same team wants to come back and write more, I would be okay with that, but I don't want this rolling into the extended universe. Certainly don't want it going anywhere near the fucking Suicide Squad universe.
Yeah. Although apparently Todd Phillips got money thrown at him to do a sequel, and apparently he's considering it.
There's plenty of material, and I think they could do it. I don't know if it'll have the same impact as the first one. I think a lot of people will want him to leave it alone, but I spent a lot of time wondering if this film ever actually happened. And as you say, like, there are various hints that this is all just in his head.
Maybe it didn't.
I've put this theory out that this might be an origin story the Joker tells himself or tells other people. It could be not real. They could actually shoot multiple versions of the Joker with the same cast and just make multiple different films. I think that'd be interesting as hell. But no studio is going to say, yeah, you want to make the same film 4 times with different endings, but film them all individually. No, we're not paying for that.
I think the only way I'd be comfortable with a Joker sequel is if they killed Arthur Fleck and he became a martyr for the cause. Like people said, "Oh, Joker's dead." Then someone
Oh,
else
right.
kind of steps into that role.
So this is the story of the man who inspired the Joker.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. It's what Gotham tried to do, but failed miserably, absolutely miserably.
Hmm. How did Gotham handle the? Because there is an alternative universe where Joker is the one that shoots Thomas Wayne
Uh,
outside the theater.
well, and originally it was meant to be the Joker that killed Thomas and Martha Wayne, but they scrapped that because that would make Joker about 20 odd years older than Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
So they changed it so Batman and Batman and Joker are roughly the same age. It's actually a guy called Joe Chill that kills Batman's parents. It leads to a pretty cool point in the comics where Batman tracks down Joe Chill and takes his mask off and says, "You fucking remember me? You created Batman, asshole. Live with yourself. Peace."
I would love for Joe Chill to be like the distant cousin of fucking Mr. Freeze.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Uh,
But in this and sorry, what were we talking about again? I just got
I
to
was
the
just
sidetrack.
fine with talking about Joker, but I remember something I want to talk about on the podcast in general. I sent you a text about this, just talking about Mr. Freeze, and I talked about thinking about Arnie, and immediately went to Josh Peck, the guy who played his body double for the Terminator series, like the new ones
Uh-huh.
where Arnie's obviously like 70 and probably doesn't want to be in that shape anymore. Like he probably
Yeah.
couldn't go back to like Mr. Olympia stages anymore. But the guy who played his body double and played the body double for Doctor Manhattan died a couple of years ago. He was hit by a fucking truck during a
Jeez.
commercial, and I was thinking to myself when I initially read that, I was like, I'd be so fucking livid. You've worked out to the point where you represent the peak of masculinity in weightlifting, and then you get hit by a fucking truck and drop dead. I think he actually may have been hit by a train. I can't remember. I need to
Jesus.
Google it again. But he just got clipped
Maybe
by a
it
train.
took a train to kill him.
I'd hope so. I'd be like, if I went up and they're like, yeah, we're hit by a train, I'm like, cool, did the train get fucked up? Like, did I win? Did we call it even? Like,
Is there a dent
dead,
in the
but
train now?
yeah, there better be a fucking dent in that train. If I get to that level of physical fitness, I'd want there to be a fucking dent in that train. But yeah, we were talking movies, Joker. But yeah, we wanted something a bit more concrete on an ending. I think I agree with
Yeah.
you on that one, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. Gotham handled it in such a way where they had this character, Jerome Valeska, who was meant to be this person who inspired the Joker. But then the ratings spiked when Jerome was on the show. So they went, let's just make him the Joker and roll along with this. And then eventually they said, oh, right, we remember that one. So they killed off Jerome, brought back his twin brother, Jeremiah, and made him the Joker.
That seems weirdly convoluted. That seems like the soap opera
It's
version of
fucking
Batman.
pointless.
Yeah. I can't say I endorse that storyline. It just sounds very very forced. Like they wrote themselves into a corner and were like, how do we get out of this? Character change. Like random just cut.
I mean, fans of the show know what I think about Gotham, so I won't go into that. But if Joker did it, where it became, the gangs of clowns that saw Joker in Arthur Fleck's performance on the Murray Franklin show and seen him shoot Murray Franklin and seen what he was all about in the uprising and things. And then gangs became, we're the clowns now, we're the Jokers. And then one kind of individual rises up from all that and that person becomes the de facto Joker.
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay with that if they did it right and they paced it out right.
I could see that working. I think that could work very well. You would have to, I'd say maybe just be gentle with it. I think that's the best part of this is that they clearly took time to write and craft it. And I don't know if you've seen any of the behind the scenes breakdowns, but the way everything is set up is so fucking meticulous.
Yeah.
I think
I've seen some of the behind the scenes stuff, and it was mostly to do with how Joaquin Phoenix chose his laugh.
Yeah.
And how he basically was given free reign to improvise certain things, and that's where the dance came from. Like when he's in the bathroom stall, and he just puts the bag down and he starts dancing. Apparently, that was all improv. And Todd Phillips just went, "Leave it. No, let this happen. Let's record this. Let's keep the cameras on him."
And it becomes such a key part of the movie, and it's great. I think it's a great. It's clearly been a working project for all people involved. Like everyone was on board for this. Everybody's like, right, we all trust each other. We're all gonna run ourselves through it. And hearing our Joaquin Phoenix's prep for it, I was like, this is ridiculous. The amount of effort this guy put into it. So I got a lot of
And I
respect.
can imagine if they do a sequel and Joaquin's in it, I doubt he would go through the same amount of slimming down that he did in the last one.
I'd love to see Fat Joker. Like, he's just
Yeah,
rolling it.
Fat Joker could happen.
Same way you get like Fat Mac and It's Always Sunny. Like for a couple seasons, Mac is just fat and they slag him off for it constantly, and they slim down, and they would just like he's always showing off like just how like ripped he is. Because obviously the guy like Rob McElhenney put a fuck ton of work into it, so I'd be bragging about it as well.
I got to complain about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I tapped out of season 8.
Really,
it was getting really, really bad. I couldn't keep watching it.
I'm trying to remember what happened in season 8.
I think what cemented it as not a great show was the high school reunion episode.
Oh, I fucking laugh at that one so much.
It was good up to a point, but then it was D really annoyed me in the episode.
D is really annoying. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just didn't have the same shine on it.
Yeah, you
from that point, and the novelty wore off. I think it was because I binge watched it all within a couple of weeks because I had time off, and I was like, okay, I'm burnt out on this right now.
Yeah, if you start to see the formula in the episodes, it can drain on you really quickly.
Yeah.
I'd say that there is a recurring formula in the show, and I don't want to talk about it because I want to spoil it for people, but the high school episode in itself just makes me laugh so hard just because of the effort and choreography they put into their version of the song. Like, they have a dance number at the end, and it's their effort, like their version of it.
That joke payoff is brilliant. I did like that part.
Just with like them all at the end, and it's like it cuts back to reality without, hey, we're doing this epic musical number, and it's like, no, you're all drunk and you're all staggering up at the dance floor, and I'm pretty sure one of you just passed out and vomited on the ground. Like, you guys are not okay.
It ends with Mac with the shirt open, just screaming. I'm pretty sure he has some kind of meat in his hand.
Yeah,
a chicken leg or a turkey leg or something.
He's got a turkey leg, and he thinks he's doing like this big epic like scream of like kind of just power from the soul coming out of his mouth, and it cuts back to him like on the dance floor. I know you don't like it anymore. I know you've tapped out on the series, but I think you may have just...
I might go back to it, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
Take a break and come back to later on. You'll be fine. You'll come back to the herd of just fanatical It's Always Sunny fans.
But until then, I have access to a subscription for Disney Plus, and I've been watching some stuff on that. It's not as bad as what people said. There's not a lot of cut content on it anymore.
So the Disney service is National Geographic, Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on there?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Is there anything else? Like, that's a lot of content.
Yeah, National Geographic itself is a hefty thing. Like, there's so much shit on that.
Yeah. You're gonna go become a meerkat expert.
Yeah. And you're going to watch Jeff Goldblum talk about the animal kingdom, because you're in lockdown. What else have you got to do?
What you can do is you can explain the fucking... Why do people love Jeff Goldblum? Beyond Jurassic Park, beyond the memes.
Because he is a walking jazz meme machine.
Right.
Look at Jeff Goldblum, you can't think of anything else.
I'm going to catch flag for this, but I just don't get the appeal. Sorry.
I had the same thing with Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, I watched Gangs of New York, and I watched a couple other films he was in. I was like, yeah, you're a good actor, but I've heard you're an asshole. Like, I don't get your allure.
Yeah, I can't remember. Somebody told him he talked about like his prep for a movie, and he was opposite some like veteran actor of like 70 years, and he shows up and he's like, I've been doing this research for like the last 6 weeks. I've now been living as this character for the last several days. I'm ready to perform. Tell me, when am I going on stage? And the other guy's like, have you just tried acting? Like, have you tried just faking the accent or whatever? Like, don't have to go and build a fucking log cabin in the woods to live the fucking Lincoln experience and then come back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of method actors because they just seem to take shit too far. Like, you just tried, having talent.
Yeah.
You don't need to go that far in depth the character, but yeah.
And there's always somebody who takes it like way too far. Like I think it was Jared Leto. I was going to say Jared Leto mailing dead rats.
With a rat.
Yeah, to people on the stage of like Suicide Squad. So, yeah, and his freak out after the film was like cut down and re-released, saying, "Oh, we could have made a Joker movie out of the stuff that they cut." From the movie, like, that was not your job. That's not part of your contract with the studio to make this movie.
I mean, maybe if you've been less of an asshole and not mailed people dead rats.
Yeah. don't fuck with Will Smith. Don't fuck with Will Smith, alright? It's the cardinal rule right now, alright? He's doing bad enough on his own, alright? He doesn't need your shit.
Gemini Man sucked. You don't need to give him any more shit.
I got into Your Movie Sucks, the YouTube channel, and just the fucking hatred that guy had for I think it's After Earth. I think it's one of the Will Smith.
Oh, that movie sucks so much.
The movie with his kid and him just going through it and being like, "This is stupid," and it's not even like flaws technically with the movie, although he will point out like very obvious stuff that or just stuff that really bugs him. But I like his way of looking at the movie and saying, these are logical, consistent issues with your story. Like, why would someone do that when they can just do this, this, and this? And they know how to do that, that, and that anyway, so why would they not do it in this situation? Why did the writing of this movie decide that someone needed to do X, Y, Z? I really like his stuff.
Will Smith wasn't even the worst part of that movie. It was more Jaden just shitting on everything. He just fucked that movie up.
Yeah. It's he's a weird kid. he's trying to be his dad, and it's not working.
Didn't he show up to some famous wedding wearing a white Batman suit?
That I think might have been Kanye West's wedding. But yeah, he did that. Because that was the American royal family wedding or whatever it was. Because we had like the actual royal family wedding of Kate and William.
The other one.
Kate and the non-Harry.
Yeah.
And did you see that, obviously with them going to... They were in Canada. They've left Canada and they went to the United States for a bit. And people were like annoyed that Trump wouldn't pay for their security. I'm like, you shouldn't. They're not state diplomats. They're not part of the UK state. Like if a UK member of the royal family goes to a foreign country, they probably work out something for security. So that it probably just means they have local police follow them around as well as their national service or their like secret service guys or whatever we have, their royal guards. They'll escort them around, but that costs them money. Like they're not that anymore. They're just celebrities now. No one should be paying for their security other than them.
No.
If they want security.
I mean, they got enough money.
Yeah.
So they should be fine.
I did hear that she's voicing a documentary or something on elephants. Meghan Markle.
Huh.
But it was shown as...
I mean, she's got to keep herself busy sometimes. Yeah. She's not getting the attention that she used to. That's all died down. Goddamn C virus is taking everything over.
Yeah, it's weird how much like everything else just drops off to the side when there's a genuine like when there's shit to get done, when there's stuff that needs to be handled. Yeah. It's amazing how much emphasis gets put on everything else in our lives other than the actual issues. You know, stuff like coronavirus, stuff like terrorist attacks, and you remember the coverage of like the 9/11 and then like the initial invasions of like Iraq and Afghanistan. Like those were just 24/7 news coverage.
Yeah, and I think we're getting close to 24-hour news coverage with the C virus, but I could keep going on about that for fucking hours because it's infecting, quite literally infecting everything right now.
Yeah.
Except the postal service, which Segway, by the way, have been keeping up with the delivery of packages and have delivered to myself 2 more games which I need to add on to the list of shit that I need to play.
Yeah.
And that is Persona 5 Royal and Doom Eternal.
Can I ask real quick? You always refer to coronavirus as the C virus. Is that a Resident Evil thing?
It's something that It's something that I started doing even when it was first announced. Like, when people started talking about coronavirus, I instinctively, my head just started calling it C virus. It was that in my head.
Have you seen anything from Doom Eternal yet? I haven't started it yet.
I watched my brother play it because he bought it, and obviously I was playing Doom 2016 at the time, which is still just a phenomenal game that you should all play.
Yes.
I've watched some of Doom Eternal, and from what I've seen, Doom Eternal makes Doom 2016 look like it's on like minus 1.25 speed. Doom Eternal is so quick because of the double jump and the boost and the dash and how you can do weird parkour platforming shit now.
Yeah, I'd heard that it is more to do with like you start exactly where you finish Doom 2016, and that you are, even with the double jump, all the abilities are still there and they don't take it away from you like some games do, which might be the most frustrating experience in gaming of all time. You start off a game with like the great way of playing the game, and then they knock you down all the way back down at the start and make you build your character back up again. Cannot fucking stand that.
I think in Doom Eternal you just kind of start on Earth, I think.
Yeah.
and you have to fight your way back to Mars and back down to Earth and stuff.
The plot of Doom games is dumb, but it does it feels
Doom,
like Halo when you're playing them.
Yeah, Doom 3, I think you're trying to destroy Hell because they killed your rabbit. So
I guess.
Sorry, I'm hearing that it's Doom 2. Doom 2?
Doom 2?
Yeah, it's Doom 2.
Sources say Doom 2.
Brother Gordon says Doom 2.
Brother Gordon. Thank you for your service, Brother Gordon.
Oh, thanks be to Brother Gordon for that information. From what I've seen, Doom Eternal makes 2016 look slow and even less colourful than it did, because one thing I've noticed is from watching Doom Eternal is it looks very colourful. They definitely turned the colour palette up for this one.
That's interesting because it's so much of the 2016 Doom is used as a tech demo because it is so dark, but there's so many lighting effects popping around the rooms. Yeah,
there's a lot of reds and greens and your traditional, browns and greys and shit. But in 2016, there's a lot of in Eternal, there's a lot of purples and greens and like bright whites and things like that, because they've just decided let's up the color palette so people can actually see. We've seen what we can do with this version of the engine. Let's just crank it up a bit and see what we can do with it.
Well, that's good to hear because I enjoyed Doom. It feels different to most FPS games that I play, because I normally play games that are more standoffish. Like, it's more about the approach, the build up, like the setup. Whereas with Doom, it seems to basically be how fast can you pull the trigger.
And there's more of that in Doom Eternal. From what I've heard, Doom Eternal will test your reflexes and demand way too much of you.
Oh, I'm gonna suck ass at this game. Can't wait to stream it.
Oh yeah. Apparently, a lot of people are saying that it is awful and it is too hard. It is a completely trash game because people are saying, "Oh, what's with all this Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed style parkour? Why is this in my Doom?" And it's too hard. Why do I need to juggle all these different weapons? But even in original Doom, weapon juggling was always built into the game. Like, you always had to quickly cycle through weapons and find the rocket launcher to beat the cyber demon, or the super shotgun to blast through hordes or something. It was always about proper weapon management. So I don't see why Doom Eternal having more of that is a bad thing.
See, that's one thing I've actually noticed in 2016 Doom is that you do have to basically figure your way through the arsenal. Like, there's no way that you can just use the same gun again and again. You run out of ammo too fast. Enemies soak up too much damage. And you are right, like, you can accidentally scroll the wrong way, whip out the rocket launcher when you meant to use the shotgun, and then annihilate yourself along with the enemy. It's part of the fun of the game.
That happens to me quite a lot. And it's happened to me quite a lot in 2016, because it's just, I'll be fighting one of the big mancubus demons, the big fat demon things with the rocket launcher arms. I'll mean to pull out the Gatling gun, pull out the rocket launcher and just aim it at my feet and blow myself up.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, sometimes several times in a row. But yeah, that's the other big game I've seen people talk about is Animal Crossing, and I did enjoy
people
that.
Going in on Animal Crossing. I have yet to buy it, but I kind of want to buy it.
I enjoyed the fact they were released on the same day, so people started like putting the two together. So you'd have like fan art of like the Doom Marine with like the little bunny rabbit character or whatever.
Yeah, I think Isabel's a dog actually.
It's all the same. It's vaguely.
Isabel from Animal Crossing, is that a dog? Yeah, Brother Gordon says it's a dog.
Brother Gordon.
Brother Gordon.
So yeah, I've seen a lot of people go. It's weird that seems to just have such a fanatical following, because it's a very involved game. Like, you have to think a lot about your next couple steps as far as developing the farm, I guess. I don't actually know what you do in the game.
From what I can tell,
I just know you have to talk about it constantly on Twitter.
Yeah, people are going in on it on Twitter. Quite a lot of people, because I mean, you can download it digitally for 50 quid. You don't need to go out, and it's going to take up all your isolation time, because it's all about building your island, gathering resources, getting paralyzed by tarantulas, because apparently tarantulas need a lot of things. So you can start producing silk and start making different clothes.
Okay.
And it's all about, planting different agricultural things and finding the right seashell fixture for your house or something. It's very, very micromanagement-y.
It's weird that people are like have put this much thought into the economy of a game, but I guarantee those people also don't have like good saving accounts or don't have any like plan for like the next 5 years of spending or budgeting or anything like this.
They probably spent their last £50. It was meant to do them until payday, which they're not going to get. on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, and
But from what I've heard about Animal Crossing, there's a lot more customization in it because you can make custom palettes in game that you can then put on clothes and on your. You can then spray it onto your patches of grass, so you have this weird custom image on your front garden, and you can put it up on your tent and shit like that.
oh, that's gonna get bad fat. Like that's gonna be fun for a lot of people, and then all of a sudden, like the dank mean people are gonna get it, and we're gonna see a lot of
they've already got
swastikas.
hold of it.
Oh shit!
They got hold of it quick.
Oh boy.
I mean, some people have been making cool Monster Hunter armor type dresses for their characters in game. A lot of people have been making Street Fighter and Capcom versus SNK2 character select screens to put up in the back wall of their houses. Other people have been making weird lewd faces. So many lewd faces.
I'm just waiting for you got to get the Hego faces in there somewhere.
I think that's already there.
The internet, the weebs do not mess around. It is like day one.
Yeah,
how do we
around.
break this? How do we make this into our issue? How do we make not politicize it, but whatever the weeb version of politicizing stuff is? How do we weebify this? How do we how do we make our parents embarrassed?
How do we bring this down to our level?
Yeah, it's very important that we bring things down to our level. I forgot to say I was going to talk about Knives Out. Wholeheartedly recommend it. We talked about it being directed by Ryan or Rian Johnson, whichever one. And yeah, this, if you want to know how like effective this movie is, the Honest trailer from Screen Junkies fucking nails it when they say you're gonna find out it's a whodunit, but you're gonna find out who did it, where, how, and why. But you're still gonna want to watch the end of this movie, which is a damn.
You're
weird...
saying you find out who done it quite early, but you're still invested in the movie.
Yeah, you want to know. It's more to do with you want to make sure the right people get out of the situation without getting fucked over. It's very, very good.
Nice.
Not 100% sure on Daniel Craig's accent, but it does grow in
doesn't
the
he do
overtime.
some kind of weird Texan drawl or something for this movie?
I've seen it referred in the movie. It gets referred to as Kentucky Fried Drawl. So it's like KFC. But that's mostly it gets better as it goes on, and if you watch it, you're gonna have a hard time not using that accent yourself. Like if you like to just do funny accents, I watched this movie and then had to like witness someone the week afterwards on in the lab, and I really had to fucking struggle not to just ask questions like his character. And just bust out like a weird southern accent and ask them questions about what they're doing. What I did find really weird though is that his character gets goofy out of nowhere. Like he, for so much of the movie, is playing like the straight man, the victim of the comedy, and then all of a sudden he just turns around and is he's the goofy guy towards the end. Like, he's the one making weird rambling monologues that are just accidentally hilarious. I kind of don't know where that came from. It might make more sense the second time I watch it, but at a certain point they just flip a switch and he becomes really, really fucking goofy.
Is it out on Blu-ray?
I think it's coming soon. If it is, it's getting bought. Because I want to see.
Yeah,
like,
I'll probably buy it.
I want to see this movie, and I also want to see like behind the scenes stuff. Like I would love to know how this movie was made, because it's a great film, but it seems doable to everyone else. Like I feel like anyone could do this movie or could do something similar. Just it's very accessible in a certain way. Like certain films look too fantastical, and you couldn't actually do it. But I think you could reasonably pull off something similar, if you spent a lot of time and effort on it, and obviously had like good cameras and stuff. Chris Evans is good. I was like, oh shit, you're not just Captain America. You're actually a fucking good actor. It's weird because like
it's kind of the same. Yeah. It's the same way with Scott Johansson. People watch Jojo Rabbit and realize, oh shit, you can act. What the fuck? Like, you're meant to be Black Widow.
Yeah. But it's weird that he still has the Captain America body. So like the family that he's with are ripping into him for being like a drunk and a total party animal who's just ruining his life. I'm like, yeah, the guy's still jacked though. Like he's clearly in great. Like you can see shoulder muscle through a fucking knitted sweater. I'm like, dude, that ain't right. That guy is huge. Catherine Langford's in there. It's the girl from 13 Reasons Why. And I
haven't watched that show.
Oh, you're lucky. But like I've been worried because she seems decent, as an actress, and then I was worried that her being in that show would just kind of taint her reputation. She would never get work again. But for me, the boss is Jamie Lee Curtis. She is a fucking bad bitch. Honestly, she's just so
I forgot
fucking
she was
good.
in that. I kind of forgot she was in that.
Oh, she steals the show.
Nice.
Like the entire family, I've got the Thrombies. They are a mess. Like everyone of them hates each other, but she is clearly the fucking alpha in the room. She's the one that's in charge. Like she's got her husband's balls in her purse, and he is not getting them back ever. So like every time she's in the room, you're like, oh, it's gonna go down. Oh, she's gonna like she can't help but try and take control of the situations, but it works really fucking well. It's weird though because I don't know how they're gonna do a sequel because apparently there is one. It's been greenlit. But it seems like we're done with the Thrombies. Like I can't imagine like if they bring out more stuff. So much of this mystery is them going into like everybody's like personal life and finding the skeletons that are in their closet. And I wonder how you would do a sequel since we now just like we know enough about the Thrombies to know them as characters. If you added any extra in there, you'd be kind of stuck. Like we'd be like just digging out more for the sake of it. Like you'd have to write extra stuff for them.
I think probably the best way to do it is probably take the main investigator character, maybe a couple of other background characters, just move to another location.
Yeah, I think you could do it with just Benoit Blanc and just have him do another mystery. But if they did it right, I could see another movie with that cast. I just don't think it will happen. It doesn't make much sense.
I mean, he's already kind of solved it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't get to see Christopher Plummer in it because he's Harlan, the guy who gets murdered at the start, and I liked him. He was really fun to watch. He is this like grand classic English actor who just I'd never really seen much of what he's done, so I went looking at his IMDb, and I was like, okay, let's see what else this guy's in. Let's see what else I can find. He is in a series of. He's the voice of a character in an animated kids TV show about H.P. Lovecraft.
An animated kids TV show about Lovecraft.
Yes, there's some show. I think it's like called Young Lovecraft, and it is just animated adventures. It's not good. Like I was tempted to see what it was like to see if this is really good, if it's funny. We'll grab DVDs and we'll watch it and just have a fucking riot. But it is like really bad kids TV, like Dora the Explorer level things.
How can you do Dora the Explorer but with Cthulhu?
I have no idea. But Ron Perlman is in the first two movies, and Mark Hamill is in the third.
Oh god.
It could be bad. It could be real fucking bad. It really. I think it depends on how drunk you are. But I don't think I'm going to bother getting the DVDs because it's.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Try and find it on YouTube or just leave it.
Or just find it on a totally legal streaming site. Yes, that's what we said. Totally legal streaming site.
Yes, absolutely legal. Never go illegal.
Yes. But yeah, I totally recommend it. Cast is fantastic. The movie itself, like, I still can't believe they made a movie where they told you everything about who done it, and I still give a shit. Like, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I had no idea. Like, when I looked it up, I was like, no, that wasn't 2 hours. There's no way that was a whole 2 hours. I spent watching that film. It flew by so fast. But it feels very dense in a way. Like, there's so much to pick up on with different character interactions. And because it's who done it, you're analysing everybody that walks on screen. But yeah, I'd recommend 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I'll add Knives Out to the list of shit that I need to buy because I've been actively trying to buy a varied range in movies and films, just because I realised that I think about 75% of my film collection is all Marvel and DC comic books. I want to try and get more varied films in there.
Easiest
I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but I kind of want to expand a bit more.
Easiest way to do it, I'd say, is the horror genre. There's so much weird shit out there, and it's easier to explain. Like, I have a ton of really shitty action movies, but it's easier to explain, oh, I'm a big horror fan, than it is to say I really love movies that get like 40 to 50% reviews on Rotten Tomatoes about people with like medieval swords. I don't know what it is. That's just my thing. that's my kink, you know. It's easier to explain that I love slasher films or horror films and stuff because you can pretend to be having deep conversations with them.
Then again, how many deep conversations can there be about random B-movie slashers?
I think if you get to a certain point, you can then start cross-referencing like B-rated slasher movies against other B-rated slasher movies, and then the classics, and then you can just have this continuously looping conversation around movies. But I don't think you can do that with stuff like Ironclad.
Ironclad, what the hell's that?
Okay. How to pitch Ironclad? It is, I say, like when those.
Give me a 30-second pitch for Ironclad.
We're gonna make a siege movie about medieval Europe, but have no budget. And that is the pitch. It's surprisingly effective. They do show actual military tactics from time, which includes digging trenches underneath enemy castles, filling them with hay, and then setting pigs on fire, and then making them run down the tunnels to burn down the enemy fortress. That, it turns out, was a legit strategy in war. And I'm like, dude, that's fucking mean. It's mean as all hell, but I guess it would work, you know? If the pig's only got one way to run, it thinks that might help, it'll just start running when it's on fire. And then you just have a trench full of fire. Yeah, it kind of works, I guess. But it was a lot of... the first one's good. The second one, not so much. I have no idea who greenlit the sequel, but no. It's a hard no from me. So yeah, it's medieval... I think it's actually all in Britain, but it's medieval Britain siege warfare with as little budget as humanly possible.
I mean, why would you want to go and ruin a perfectly good premise like that with something like a budget?
Are you expect to spend money on this shit? No.
No, fuck that. The part of the castle shall be played by this bungalow that we're going to CGI another bungalow on top of.
And for extras, we'll use the local LARPing community.
I mean, they do work for free.
There was some other film. It's one of those films that was so bad I almost turned it off because I don't know what it is. I've noticed that no one can animate horses very well. Like, you've seen horses just out and about galloping and stuff like that. We've been around horses before. Horses are very majestic creatures when they're at like full sprint, and I'm yet to see any series that does a good job of animating them. Attack on Titan did a really good job with certain scenes, but there's just certain shows that, like in both 2D animation and 3D, that whenever you show a horse, it looks like the jankiest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I mean, the last horse I've seen in anything animated was Berserk, the 2016 version, which was just awful on all accounts. The horses just looked like they were little toys that someone was just bobbing up and down on a screen.
Well, they did that for character animation for the actual characters in the show, so
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah. And the less said about Berserk 2016, the better. So, what have you been playing recently? Have you had anything new that you've played through, other than Shenmue, which gave you the mental version of the shits?
Actually, there's nothing really new that I've been playing. I've been buying a lot of older games, and playing through them. Like doing a bit of catch up on with God of War, which I've yet to start playing. Playing Doom 2016, yet to get stuck into that.
Did you not play the Resident Evil demo?
I did. I played the holy shit out of the Resident Evil 3 demo. I played that about 3 or 4 times, and the rumors were true. Nemesis makes Mr. X look like he's in a wheelchair.
Oh shit!
Nemesis can just get you from fucking anywhere. He does this weird kind of vault thing where he jumps over you and anime skids to a stop in front of you, then just turns round and just starts beating you about. He is incredibly quick, and he has multiple stages where you can mutate and still track you throughout the stage. This is later on in the game. It's not really in the demo. You see clips of it in the post-demo trailer.
Because you said, like, I remember we said that, like, he puts Mr. X in, like, Mr. X ran through a wall to get to you at one point, did he not? Not punch through a wall.
Oh, yeah, Nemesis punches through multiple walls to get to you.
That guy is angry.
Yeah, and he is, like, at one point, if you're shooting him, there's no sort of bounce back. Like, he'll take the hit, then he'll just keep moving forward. Midway through your sort of bullet string, he can just grab your ankle and trip you. Because he's got this weird kind of palm tentacle thing.
Obviously.
That can just whip out and pull the feet away from underneath you.
I've seen enough hentai to know where that's going.
Yeah, and especially with Jill Valentine. But they've given him a rocket launcher because he wasn't strong enough, and also a flamethrower just to make it even even more painful.
Just because I love bringing up the fact that the Resident Evil movies exist. What did he have in that? I think he had a rocket launcher and a minigun, right?
He had a rocket launcher and a minigun, and somehow he could fight hand to hand.
Yeah. Despite having
Him
basically
and
stumps for arms.
Budget Joe Valentine had a fist fight at one point.
A friend of mine actually is watching those like one movie a day, and she forgot just how much crap is in the series.
Yeah.
How much effort they put into trying to explain a world that doesn't need to be explained.
Just in general, I mean, you know what I think about the Resident Evil movies? Paul W.S. Anderson, stop putting your wife in fucking movies, and that goes in quadruple for the new Monster Hunter movie. Fucking stop it.
Just stop. Get some help.
Yeah, get some help. Go home, see your family. Tell your wife to stop wanting to be in movies.
She's hot, we get it, alright?
Yeah, we get it. It's like Rob Zombie, stop putting your wife naked on things. We get it.
Let's hold up there, buddy. Hey, I have needs, alright?
Yeah, some people haven't.
What was the so other than like Nemesis handing you your own ass, how I'm guessing they demo sold you in the game, but did it do that because you were a fan of the second one?
It sold me on the game because it made me realise that they're actually changing the gameplay in response to the character that you're playing. In Resident Evil 2, you were a rookie cop, you couldn't really do much, but Jill Valentine is hardened police. She knows how to, like, she has this sort of commando role where she can dodge out of the way zombies, which I think is a good way of updating the character, or the gameplay for the character, because it's just Leon and Claire, neophytes, don't really have much combat expertise. Jill Valentine, hardened veteran, been in the police force for years, been in STARS, Special Forces of the police for fucking years. She would have a bit more combat savvy about her. So the fact that she's just barrel rolling through enemies and getting some weird bullet time after it is pretty cool.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the bar roll will be involved in some kind of speedrunning.
Probably. Although I don't really think it will be, because it's just, it's not a case of Zelda type bar or forward roll where you can just keep rolling forward. You roll, there's a bit of stun, bit of invincibility frames as she gets back up, but it's more of a, there's about 5 zombies in front of me, I need to roll backwards and get the bullet time animation and take out a couple of them before I get back up to my feet.
Right. So it's not,
but
it's not
will
exploitable.
be used in speedrunning for that sense.
Yeah. Every and again, like you mentioned Zelda, and it's the perfect example. If you've ever watched the Zelda speedrun, it is entirely just hoop, 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 hoop.
Yeah, it's just mash that B button and forward so you can roll.
Oh, it's just a weird way of like thinking about gameplay, but yeah.
Yeah. It's
interesting. It's fun to see.
Yeah.
What else
but in a RE3 demo, the two things that actually shine the most are the setting of Raccoon City itself. From what little you see at the start of Resident Evil 2 to now, they've expanded it exponentially because it looks so much more vibrant than what you've seen previously. Like, there's more colour about it. The locations are a bit more pronounced because Jill spends most of her time in Raccoon City. So it's her darting from place to place trying to find items and upgrades and shit like that. So they've updated it to make it look a bit more like it's the focal point of the piece. Instead of just, here's the backdrop before you go to the police station, or the backdrop before you go to the laboratory underneath the city.
Yeah, I think you said that they've done most of the city, if not all of it.
Yeah. And I think you go through a decent portion of the city.
And to make it look good, if you've ever seen like how they develop certain like cities in games, it's really, really impressive. Like the amount of effort you have to put into this. It's got to be a labor of love.
And everything else about it is just prototypical Resident Evil 3 types, Resident Evil 2 type stuff. The combat's the same. Your knife doesn't break anymore, which is a really, really nice bonus. Because you can now, instead of wasting bullets to kill confirm a zombie that's on the floor, you can just stab the shit out of it.
That's good.
Which is pretty fucking helpful.
And again, it does show that, Jill's, that she's been doing this for years. She would know how to get the job done with just a knife. So that's good.
And she was put through the original Resident Evil, the Arkley Mansion incident, so she knows how to take down a zombie.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if that comes up in the game, and if they bring back Barry for what I think is the canon ending. Because the canon ending for Resident Evil 3 on the GameCube, PlayStation 1, was that you get to the heliport, helicopters waiting there, and it's Barry Burton from Resident Evil 1 who's the sort of marksman at STARS, and he flies you to safety before the nuclear bomb drops on Raccoon City. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep that or they just do something completely different.
I'd be really curious about that as well, because these remakes, do they follow the story ending of the games all the way through, or is there
In
potential that
two,
someone else shows
it
up?
did, because two ends with Claire and Leon and Sherry walking out of Raccoon City and, saying, "How far does this go? We need to stop Umbrella." But they dropped the whole tagline of Leon going, "Hey, it's up to us to stop Umbrella." Then the weird slap bass rock playing, because that line doesn't fit up with the rest of Resident Evil canon. Because Leon saying, "It's up to us to stop Umbrella," never happens. Because Claire never fights Umbrella again until Code Veronica. But she doesn't even set out to fight Umbrella. She sets out to find her brother. And Leon forgets about Umbrella completely and never really fights Umbrella again until Resident Evil 6. And Resident
Huh.
Evil 4, he's fighting a bunch of Spaniards. And he wasn't in Resident Evil 5. So,
True.
and in Resident Evil 3, I kind of hope they keep the ending the same, because the ending for Resident Evil 3 is pretty cool.
Um. So yeah, you'd recommend that? You're gonna recommend the full game when it comes out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have been told that it's only about a 7-hour game. It's not a completely long game. Then again, Resident Evil 2, both campaigns were about 8 hours, so you're only getting an hour less of game. But what I have been told is that Resident Evil 3, in terms of pacing, is just, explosion, dynamite, gunshot, keep going. Fucking Nemesis is behind you. What are you going to do? You need to go and get this key for this room. Nemesis is catching down on you. You're infected. Now you're playing as Carlos. You need to go and get the serum to help infected Jill. You're now playing as Jill again. You need to go to the clock tower. You need to get this. You need to get that. Keep fucking going, because the game doesn't have two characters to spread the shit over. It's got one character, one main character, and a backup character for when the other character gets sidelined. There's no two different branching paths of the game. They just need to keep throwing shit at you.
So it'll be an intense 7 hours as opposed to a more measured 8, which yeah, that's nice.
And Nemesis apparently keeps stalking your ass throughout the whole thing, which I am okay with. But Mr. X gave me nightmares, so Nemesis is probably going to put me in an early grave.
I'm looking forward to hearing you talk about this game when you're done with it. Because how long do you say it took you to do the demo?
My first time playing through it, I just wanted to, go through the game, see the sights, get reconnected with the gameplay. And I think I finished my first run of the demo in 25 minutes. Then I went back and just thought, I'm going to try and see everything that I can see in the game. And I think that took me about another 45 minutes just to take a slow way through it.
So that's interesting, because you said that you'd finished it, and I'm like, wait, what? I thought it just came out this morning. You have done it like 4 times by now.
Oh yeah, there was a couple of times I was just like, how quickly can I get through this? But the record for speedrunning the demo is 1 minute 30 seconds.
Fuck off! No way.
Guy just literally goes, chain cutters, shotgun, key, done. And it's like, how the fuck? It took me 1 minute and 30 seconds to think about that. You did that with a second to spare.
I kind of want to see that. I'm going to go find that on YouTube once we're done here.
I follow the guy on Twitch, so I'll link it to you.
Nice.
I'll link it to you.
We've been discussing other things as well. I have a couple of weird pet favourite bands that I don't really talk that much about. One of them is Amaranth. And we went back and forth after they released 82nd All the Way, which is a song
cover of the Sabaton song.
Yeah, and it's a song about a soldier in World War One. I know. Wait, people are making metal about this. Hell yes, Sabaton have been making a ton of metal about World War One and Two for the last couple of years now. Don't know how long they've been going, but it's got to be over a decade by now.
I think Sabaton have been going for a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than a decade, maybe close to 15 years.
Because Amaranth, I actually was Googling them last night to write up about this. They're at 12 years now. Like, how the fuck have they been going for 12 years? But yeah, apparently. It's one of the things of like, how long have they been going? How long have I been going? Oh my god. I'm old, oh no. And yeah, this is a Swedish metal band, but they have a weird kind of gimmick in that they have 3 vocalists. They have a female vocals, male clean vocals, and male harsh vocals, and they've been doing this, as I say, for 12 years.
Sabaton have been active for 21 years.
Holy fuck. That's
Started in
impressive.
1999.
That's commitment to the bit. Give them that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've done a bunch of like they've been touring, like Amaranth have been touring with Sabaton, and as kind of like homage to them, made a cover of 82nd All the Way, and I linked it to you, and we've been just hounding this song non-stop for the last couple of weeks, and it's so upbeat and it's so fucking poppy. I don't know what it is, but like I've heard it described as the anime opening song for World War One.
Yeah, it is very anime. Like, it could open Attack on Titan and no one would blink.
Yeah. Actually, there is a show that is basically World War One, called Saga of Tanya the Evil. Very good show. And I think it would maybe fit if you could maybe recut some of the footage from the actual show and make it into the opening for the show. I think it would work. It'd be a little disturbing, but it'd work.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, if someone can cut what anime was it? There was a very gory anime, Elfin Lied, I think it was called.
Love Elfin Lied.
Someone cut that to Boney M's Rasputin.
All right.
Somehow that worked. I was like, how is this working? It's literally a girl who's just Akiraing people together, like crushing them into ball, like bloody balls.
That show, when you find out how they're doing stuff, like, it just seems like there's a naked woman walking around, like, making people explode, and they explain, no, she has weird mystical hands coming out of her back, and I'm like, wait, what? And it's like, no, like, the power level's based on how many hands they have, and it, like, shows you their vision, and you see, like, a little child with, like, 8 arms coming out the back. Like, oh my god, that's the, like, second most powerful thing I've ever seen. And they're, like, tearing each other apart with weird mystical hands. You're like, this entire show is fucking bonkers. Really good though, in a weird way. Wasn't a big fan of the fact that the girl, like the naked girl, has clearly got some kind of amnesia. I'm pretty sure she gets shot in the head, but her helmet takes the hit and she just gets her brain rattled. But you have a girl with amnesia waking up naked on a beach with some random guy finding her. He then takes her back to his house. And immediately she's like, well, I guess I just live with you now. I guess I love you, and I guess I'll suck your dick if you want. And it's him going like, I guess I'm okay with this. She's like, no, that's not okay in any way whatsoever. You're clearly taking advantage of the situation. Fucking don't do it. But other than that, it's a great show.
I mean, it was a show that someone back in the days when X-Fire was a thing. You remember X-Fire, the chat client?
Yes.
Someone recommended it to me on that. Good friend from down in Wales.
All right, Welsh.
Clearly
some kind of pervert. So.
He's a good guy. A lot of time for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said watch Elfin Lied, and I was like, okay, I'll try. And I never got around to it. Like most anime, I say I'll give it a shot, but I never do.
I think it's on Netflix. It might have been taken off since it was on there years ago. But
I'm not gonna rush to buy it, so rush to watch it. So.
But yeah, Amaranth. We're talking about that.
Yeah, Amaranth.
I say they've got a back catalogue now for they've been going for like a decade, and I was going to recommend a couple tracks off of it in case anyone's interested. Other than 82nd All the Way, which is fantastic. But I noticed that recently, apparently, they've been managed by Angela Gossow from
nice
back in the day Arch Enemy, one of the first like major female voices in metal and a real icon.
Yeah, for a while, it was just her and Christina Sabia.
Yeah, so when you've got that like star power behind you, I mean, Angela Gossow made her space for herself by being as good as everyone else. Yeah. And we got a lot of time for that. I think there's a lot of respect in the metal community for someone who can do that in a what seems like a very male-dominated space, but isn't really. Like, I think metal's quite egalitarian in that if you're good, you will shine through, and we will have time for you. If you're not good, you'll be shit on until you fold into like your own asshole and disappear.
Skill kind of shines out more than, I don't know where I was going with that one. Yeah, skill shines more than anything else in the metal community. If you can, bust out the high notes like anybody else, or you can grow like anyone else, you're going to get noticed fairly quickly.
If you strive with the best, then we will absolutely notice. So yeah, a couple of their like greatest hits, I'd say. There's a track called That Song. It's super poppy, but it's got more swagger than you can handle. Mechanical Illusion. It's probably the best example of their earlier style where it is just pure fusion of electronic and metal, and it's really well mixed, which is one thing I noticed is like it would be very easy for them to just crank one side and then crank another side during the song, but everything just kind of blends together very well. There are 2 tracks that are very soppy, but I do fucking love them. There's one called True, and it is just about like what you really care about, and it just talks about the video itself is 2 of the singers reenacting like their childhood dreams of like the singer one of the main singers wanted to be a hockey player, so it's him like skating around the ice, and at the same time you've got Elise wanting to be a ballerina, and it's fucking epic. Like, it makes you weep. You're like, oh no, I don't want to be this upset by a fucking metal music video, but it's fucking really good. There's also Endlessly, which was on an album like 2 or 3 years ago, but they made a YouTube video for it because one of the band's guitarists got married, and they did the video around his wedding, because it's all about just endless, like the one true love of your life. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. Like, you know, writing your own wedding music video and then releasing it on YouTube for like a couple million views. Pretty damn impressive. What else do I have?
Speaking of new music, I actually found a new band that I've been listening to quite a lot.
I got 3 more tracks to recommend.
I got 3 more tracks to recommend. Cool.
There's the track The Nexus, which is a shame because it started this meme that's on every fucking YouTube video that they have now, where basically there's a lot of like long-haired people and there's a lot of like hair flips, and it's all shot in fucking slow motion, and everyone just spams the fucking line "greatest shampoo commercial of all time" in the video, and it just ruins every comment section. But it's really fucking cheesy, and I really dig it. There is GG6, which is one of the newer tracks. They did 2 videos in the same set, and this one's the fun version. It's the same as most of their stuff. It's just fun electro pop with metal in there as well. And then there's one that I think you'll like probably the most, Fury, where they let the rough singer Henrik. I'm going to try and butcher this name because it's Swedish. Wilhelmsen. They let him loose on the song, and it's 3 minutes of just the most savage growling. I mean, he calls it Corey Taylor in the song, and I think it might be fair. Like, he says, I can go toe to toe with Corey Taylor, and you're like, I think you could. I really do think so. But yeah, that's my recommendation.
That's a flex.
Yeah.
You need, if you're going to say I can go toe to toe with Corey Taylor, you need to back that.
I didn't know, by the way, that Corey Taylor did a track with Tech9, the rapper. I was like, interesting. Apparently Tech9 is a massive Slipknot fan as well, so
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that. Rappers being fan of weird music. I mean, what's his name? Post Malone loves Fall Out Boy, and Ozzy Osbourne. So
Post Malone's just a weird guy. I mean, he's doing a beer pong tournament through Instagram as part of coronavirus. I have no idea how it's going to work, but they're doing something through like Instagram TV where they're going to play beer pong against each other. I'm going to try and find some of the videos and see if it's worth watching, because if it's funny, it's funny. They're just getting all their like celebrity friends to take part. So
yeah, I mean, if it works, man.
Whole beer pong tournament through Instagram. Welcome to the coronavirus.
Yeah, welcome to C-Virus.
How do they not use Corona beer? Oh my god. You gotta do it. You can't have Budweiser. You gotta use Corona
why
beer.
would you want Budweiser? Budweiser's piss water.
Actually, Post Malone has a sponsorship deal with Budweiser. It's probably going to be Budweiser. It should be Corona beer. If there was a just God in this universe, it should be Corona beer. Yeah, you said you had a new band you'd be listening to. What was the...
Yeah, there was a new game in a series that I've been a fan of for quite a while. No More Heroes. No More Heroes 3 got announced at E3 2016, 2017.
I was going to say they finally released that.
No, it's in development. It's going to get released soon. But they started releasing themes and tracks from the game soundtrack, and they released the boss theme, and it's a song called Orca Force by a band called Red Orca, who are a Japanese rock band, and it's just, kind of imagine Japanese Skin Dread.
I'm already sold.
And they've only got one album, and it's just called, the band name's Red Orca, the record's called Orca Force. Download it. It is fucking great. It's just all high octane, very high energy music, and I've been listening to the shit out of it. It's a great record.
Red Orca, 525 subscribers on YouTube. Make it 526.
Incidentally, the HU have been popping up all over my Facebook.
I love it. It's so much fun to see people getting into this band. I actually have a second album, apparently, from Red Orca.
Oh.
Manriki.
Hold on.
So I've got Orca Force here, and I've got Manriki as well. So they're both getting downloaded. But yeah, it's good to get to share the Who with people, and I like that they are doing very well for themselves, and everyone who hears it is like, I'm down with this. Like, I'm up for a bit more of whatever you got there. And their videos with guys like Jackie B. Shaddix, as long as we're not big Papa Roach fans.
Yeah, not since the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah, I actually listened to the new single that they put out. Oh boy, Papa Roach has changed. I mean, Getting Away with Murder is never not going to be a great song. But yeah, that band has changed.
I was never in that boat. I never liked Getting Away with Murder. I think it was one of the most overplayed songs ever.
Yeah, if you get the good headphones on and you really crank it, it's fun, but it's not great, meaningful. It's probably not going to stand the test of time. Probably hasn't stood the test of time up until now, but I still really enjoy it. YouTube Music wants to give me smart downloads so they can build like an algorithmic playlist. Nah, bro, I'm good.
Nah, keep your smart downloads, man. I don't need that shit.
I'll just grab whole albums and just shuffle them all together. It's fine. I create enough playlists as it is anyway. Because The Who's popping up in other places, and what was the other one as well? There was someone else that just keeps popping up, but there's a lot of good new music coming out of these. Oh, that's who it was. Bloodywood.
Oh yeah, Bloodywood. They dropped a new song.
Yeah, they dropped the video for Yad, which is YAAD, if you want to go looking for it. It is a 5-minute, 40-second song about just loving your pet dog, which I gotta say, big fan. It's the real.
I didn't
real
realize it was a 9-minute song though.
No, it's only 5.5 minutes. It's just that the end 4 minutes of the video are dedicated to raising money for a dog, an animal rights charity in India, because they're putting proceeds from the video and asking for donations for that charity, which again, metal as fuck.
Yeah, it's a pretty good cause.
But yeah, we'd highly recommend it. Just kick back. I'd recommend watching the actual video itself, just so you can get the subtitle lyrics and get the meaning behind the song. But then once you've watched that a couple times and know what the rough gist of the song is, I've had that on a playlist, and I spent an entire morning just listening to that song. I think I might have looped it about 20 times, and I'm not bored of it at all.
Yeah, I kind of get the same thing with Do or Die, the track that Amra Angela Gosso looped that shit on repeat.
Yeah, every now and again you just find something that really scratches the itch.
Yeah, I mean before that it was Clutch with their album From Beale Street to Oblivion. After seeing them live at Download, I think I just played that shit over and over again. Could not get enough of it.
I vaguely remember Clutch. I don't think I ever listened to them, but I remember them being a band.
Imagine Neil Diamond if they had a deeper voice and played metal in the background. It's pretty good. Well, not quite metal, but more heavier blues country.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah,
I got a weird country kick. I don't know what it is. Admittedly, Luke Combs is to blame for that, but I just obviously once you find one, with the suggestions pages on YouTube, you find more and more and more.
You just tumble down that rabbit hole. Just keep going continually.
Also listen to Five Finger Death Punch's 8th album, F8, Fate. I don't know how we're supposed to pronounce it, but I've been calling it Fate now for a couple of weeks, and no one's corrected me, so I'm calling it Fate.
I think that not that many people are listening to Five Finger Death Punch, because I'm pretty sure they're not even on Spotify anymore.
Really? I know they had issues with the label. Like they just left the previous group and are now with a new group. I think they're actually with Better Noise Music, but I'm not entirely sure about that one.
No, it's all up there. I just haven't listened to it in quite a while.
Ooh, F8's it's good. There's a lot of stuff that will be on the greatest hits for when they ever do their next one, because they've already done one for the first decade of their career.
I mean, to my mind, Five Finger Death Punch haven't released a good record since 2013. Got Your 6 was awful.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that one. Again, for them, I think they know. They've actually put out some article today saying they know they're a polarizing band and not all their stuff works for all their fans. And I think that's been going for a while, where they have they write the album knowing that their fans will take out different tracks for different playlists. And I think there's 3 different playlists, and one of them is beat your own personal deadlift record. The other one is just going for a long drive down a country road in a nice truck, and the third one is drinking in the shower after a bad breakup. I think those are the 3 Death Punch playlists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when I did go to the gym Five Finger Death Punch, a few tracks made it on there, and there are still a few Death Punch tracks that make it onto my pre-game playlist, not my pre-game drinking playlist, my pre-rugby game playlist.
Yeah, I think they're getting better. Which I mean, 8 albums in. I don't know how much you'd expect somebody to improve, but I mean they're still putting in the work. I do think Ivan getting clean is helping as well.
Yeah, I mean I always appreciate the hustle, but I suppose I shouldn't really say that it's horrible. But in my opinion, it was horrible. I wasn't a huge fan, but with most things, I'm willing to give it a second shot. So I might jump in for Fate and see how that is, but we'll see. Yeah. I'm still making my way through Critical Role. And I'm using the fact that those guys are on hiatus, along with everybody else in the world right now, to try and catch up on my way through Campaign 1 and hopefully get started on Campaign 2. But I think I'm still 18 to 20 episodes away from the end, which, considering the fact that I started a couple months ago, is disturbing or, commendation worthy.
I was going to say, you texted me saying you were like 30 away a couple of weeks ago, and that's impressive that you've made it through another 12, 18 episodes or something like that.
Yeah. I'm on episode 90. I think I texted you when I was on episode 80. Or no, I texted you when I was on episode 80. I'm now on episode 93, and the end is in sight. The end is in sight. Not that I'm not enjoying Campaign 1.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're also 90 episodes in. Was it 3-hour episodes?
3 hours. The short episodes. It's between 3 hours and 5 hours at this point. Apparently in Campaign 2 they get up to a 6-hour episode.
Oh Jesus! I'm enjoying it as well, but I'm also way further back. You are 270 hours to probably 360 hours into this.
But that mostly comes from, I haven't just been sitting, solely down listening to this. It comes from I am going back and forth between Bowness and Edinburgh for uni. I'll listen to a podcast that usually kills about an hour and a half of travel, or I have 4 hours to wait in between my lecture and my tutorial. I can get an episode and a bit of Critical Role done. Or if I'm going on the train to a game of rugby or rugby training, I'll listen to more Critical Role. But there are people out there who have just been watching and listening to nothing but Critical Role. Like, they watch the VODs or the YouTube episodes instead of television.
And it does become like a personality trait or something. Like, if someone says, I'm up to date on Critical Role, that means something.
Yeah. And even at conventions, which I kind of want to touch on conventions a little bit. Again, it falls back into C-Virus, but unfortunately, it's a big topical thing at the moment. We're probably going to keep jumping back to C-Virus. I can only apologise for harping back to this, but I do want to talk about conventions. But when we get back to conventions, the amount of people that I talk to, even before the lockdown and probably after the lockdown, they just say, "Oh, you listen to Critical Role," and then it's just the conversation just brings in so many different people because everybody fucking listens to Critical Role. It's just this D&D, this little niche D&D show that just exploded, and everyone got hit with a little bit of it.
And it's because it's well done, it's well made, and it's done by talented people. So you're kind of stuck with, it gets everyone's attention, and it's packed with people that you know from other nerd shit, and it's prime nerd content, really.
If you're an anime fan or a video games fan, or even just a pure D&D fan, there's a little bit of something in there for you. But what is drawn is mostly the fans of the voice actors. They just kind of enveloped all these different people in there. I take a chance to talk about conventions because there seems to be this huge, what's the best way to put it? Like, I don't want to say dichotomy, but there's a bit of a void, a bit of a chasm growing between the local conventions that want to still keep going but have had to postpone due to, C-Virus, and bigger MCM Comic-Cons that happen at the end of the year, because they're looking like they're still going to go ahead, but a lot of conventions, the likes of Rycon and DundeeCon, they've had to cancel and move theirs to, I think, June. And a lot of people are saying, well, this is bullshit, why can't you just go ahead or cancel the event, you're not going to be able to compete with MCM. But it's getting to the point where, would you want one con in February, then nothing until September, or do you want, stay indoors, stay safe, then you get a couple extra cons before the big one? Money wise, it's going to be a hassle, but you're going to have shit to do in between now and the big Comic Con.
It does seem to be a bit of a problem for the small events, and that's my concern in with the economy in general right now, is how are small organisations going to take the hit when you have something like an MCM, these big monolith companies that can take that bit of a hit and delay stuff by a couple of months, because this will cost money. And for a small convention, a small gaming convention in Glasgow, to just say we're going to hold off for a couple of months to keep you safe, by the way. Never forget to throw that one at people who are complaining about the current situation. This is all for public safety, including your safety.
But MCM, their event in London, they were going to postpone that and have it in December or something, or late October. But I think 8 of their guests, being the Critical Role cast, have had to cancel because they physically can't make it over to London in December. So a lot of people off the back of that have just demanded their tickets, the cost of their tickets back in. MCM have just kind of said, well, we have no choice, we can't get these guys to show up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying it's a failing on MCM's behalf, but they couldn't predict the virus. Cut them some fucking slack.
Yeah, and I would never actually advise anyone to travel into a city in December. If you can avoid Christmas time shopping in any major city, especially a capital city, do.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. You don't want to add a convention on top of that.
Yeah, that would just be nightmarish.
Right, so for the showstopper today. Right now, it's talking about coronavirus all the time. Might as well just... a lot of people resort to online shopping, and we have a lot of trust in the retailers. That people like Amazon and eBay, and even stuff like Teespring, like these online merch stores for various like kind of geek properties. We always assume that they will actually get the shop stores. We always just trust them with the information. They throw the money at them and hopefully get our stuff back in the end. But I have a story today that's about what happens when the seller doesn't fulfill the order.
Okay.
So, Shay Victorio is a former CSGO player, and she's been playing Counter-Strike in various forms for the last 11 years. At the pro level, she's been playing in esports tournaments, but retired in 2019 to make money on the side as a Twitch streamer. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, not a horrible-looking girl, and you are good at CSGO. You're talented. You've been in the game for so long. You can probably like play it by accident. So she made a bunch of money as a Twitch streamer. So
I'm going to post that all over Twitter. Local podcaster blast CS:GO is so simple that anyone can accidentally play
it. Gonna get clickbait. No, I think like if you're top level player, you could probably accidentally win a match CS:GO. Like, I didn't mean to do that. Whoops.
No, dude, I'm just shit posting, man. I'm just shit posting.
Her Twitch stuff did quite well, but she opened up a merch store, and fans went and bought a bunch of her merch stuff, like usual t-shirts, hats, all that stuff. And then people started to complain that orders weren't showing up. This got so kind of heated up that people, like the police force, got the this is police in Brazil, by the way. So they got the Special Action Group to combat organised crime involved. And to put these guys in perspective, one of the articles I found about this task force was that they were showing up. They were involved in an investigation where a group of a criminal organization was found to be involved in the murder of a Brazilian politician, like not a like low tier like bureaucrat, like an actual member of like Rio de Janeiro's like Chamber of Commerce or whatever the fuck. She was actually involved in the community and was an activist. She was murdered by an organised crime group, which included a member of former Brazilian Special Forces. These were the guys that were tasked with bringing that organised criminal group in. So those guys were also shown what was going on with the streamer, who's known online as Shay. They got involved with her case, cracked into her emails, and found that there was evidence to suggest that she was not fulfilling orders through her online store, and this would count as fraud under Brazilian law, and they decided to prosecute her, and she was found guilty and given what I'll call a harsh sentence. So what do you think a harsh sentence for fraud is in Brazil?
Probably a fairly hefty fine and a ban on trading.
She was given 116 years of prison time. I shit you not.
More than a little bit fucking harsh. That's that's severe, I'd say.
They had 118 counts of fraud. So it was 118 people she didn't send deliveries to, and was given 116 years as a prison sentence. She has a couple of saving graces though. Apparently in Brazil, the maximum sentence that can be given is 30 years. So she's automatically going to have to serve all 30 years, but she only has to serve 30 years out of 116, so not bad.
Yeah, it's a silver lining, I suppose. You'd be in prison for a good chunk of your life, or all of it.
She's going to come out at like 60 with fraud charges against her name, but
yeah,
I mean, it's better than never ever seeing the daylight again. But she has a kind of like, she has a possible out here, and this is the fact that the online store, although she promoted it and was part of the business running it, it was actually run by her father or an ex-partner, so that they could be the ones that are liable for the actual charges related to like the defrauding of the fans. And the thing
so
is,
she's not even going to. She might not even take the hit herself.
She's been charged with it. That's the thing. It's like
she's been charged.
This
right?
has been done. They've gone through the courts. They're just saying that maybe she has a possible out of, if she can prove it wasn't her directly involved with the store, it was actually her father or her ex-partner.
Right.
Yeah.
So even at that, she still might not take the hit for it, despite that she's been charged with it. Because charged isn't actually, guilty.
I don't know if she's actually gone to jail yet for it, because this all happened at the start of the year. It just took a while for it to filter through, because the ESPN story I found on it was from Brazil, and they've I had to Google translate it into English, and there was a few like things that were a bit weird in there. It says Shay's lawyer told Colin, which is the newspaper, that the company belonged to Shay's father and ex-partner. I'm like, wait, what? Please tell me those are two separate people. I don't want that to be. I don't want that to be an issue.
You don't want to make more of a story out of this.
So they believe that a management problem had indirect consequences for the former player. So the lawyer's pretty sure that they can convince a jury or a judge or an appeals court that it wasn't actually Shay that was involved in this, and that she shouldn't have to serve 116 years of jail time, cut down to 30 by Brazilian law. But yeah, she's been convicted, and I'd actually, if they can find enough evidence, she's probably got a good chance of being able to convince someone that it was not actually her fault. But good fucking luck on that one.
Yeah, she's gonna have a hell of a time.
So yeah, have fun
Sorting
with
that one up.
So yeah, that's what happens when you fuck up an Amazon order. Good luck, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, keep that shit going, Bezos. Otherwise, you're going to go to Brazilian jail.
They have some severe sentencing in there. But yeah, that was my showstopper for the day. I've been Colin Graham.
I've been Dom Anderson.
And we've been talking gibberpish.
Remotely.
Through. We're a government organisation. We can't shut down.